Hello, everybody. All right, some measurements on the Logie arch, which some people have been asking for. All right, so I may make this a little bit longer than what it should be. Let's just get into it. That's like, yeah, crap. All right. We are 5'8". So the deal is with this is I made this for somebody else, and they didn't want an oak crimper I had. Blah blah blah. I got a wheel spacer in here, and this is made for smaller tires, so the wheel spacer can go away. A smaller tire gets put on it, and it will work out. Right now, the tire does stick out just a hair, and I do not like that. I like my kicker here to be even. So anyway, with a correct size tire, it'll work out that way. So I should be probably an inch or two narrower than that measurement. I built quite a few different ones, or rebuilt a bunch of times. They play around with a lot of different things. I was embarrassed when I got near when this one came near a Pioneer log arch, how similar the dimensions were in some ways. It was embarrassing. It was like I copied them, and I didn't. Terrible. We are about 3'4" from the point height. This was set up. I built this with a bigger team than Gus Boom and mine. This was built for a big pair of Belgiums that were over 17 hands. So your line of draft, and this was built for flat land, flatter, medium to flat land, and hardwoods. That's what this was set up for, and a Western style harness. Let's get some more measurements here. So that's 3" by 3" tubing by the way, guys, and this is a 1/2 inch by 1.5 inch piece of steel. Don't know if that has to be that heavy or not. Let's see here. From the tip up there to back here, from the back side to the very tip right here, 2 foot. It does angle in. It doesn't come square out, it angles in, and that does make it nicer for that step to work well. I really like my PV hook design I came up with. It works well for this type of PV hook. It's just a pipe, and that works really well. I do like my little step deals right here. This was built for heavier man, this needs to be like another inch and a half back maybe. I set it up. This tongue does weigh a little something. It's a lot lighter than the Pioneer tongue, but it does weigh a little something, and part of that is because of these kickers. The round kickers do work better than the square ones. It does seem a little bit. So the name of the game is balance with a Western style harness. It's all about balance. You really want to watch that. So I just come straight up and have the log hang off the back of the lever of the dealio here. These are 1/2 inch by thick by 1.5 inch wide, and I just cut the edge off so the chain slides in there a little bit better. This is 16 inches wide. You know, I have doubled these up, maybe 1 inch thick, because we have big young pair. We're going 4 up. We have big young pair of. I don't think that's necessary. You put a brace right here in the middle. I haven't on this one yet, and that you get this weighing too much. It's amazing throughout the day you have to work it. It kind of adds up. So this thing's kind of balanced out where you sit down on it. It picks up on the front end quite a bit, or it balances out, and it's not bad. Or if you hang a log from the back. The key is for that Western style harness as well, the point it pulls from, the horses pull from the DoubleTree, is about 1/2 to 3/4 inch lower than the point this chain pulls from. Now that goes away if you use these. These are different heights you pull from right here. But if you use that treat lever, it is set up that way correctly. If you hook lower than your DoubleTree, you're actually going to pull down on their necks when you pull. The way this is set up, it actually picks up, and the weight goes away on their necks when they pull. I'm sure y'all have noticed in the videos, this tongue is way too long for Gus and Boom, and the line draft is really screwed up for Gus and Boom. That's because this was made for another team, and I got another arch I'm going to be whacking away on. I was using just what I had around, and this screen's a little light duty. I should use a heavy duty screen. I think that will rust and not hold up in the long run. So the chainsaw holder, it's okay for just some stuff, but it's not. I got some improvements I'm going to be doing to that for sure. This dude right here, there's ups and downs to him. You got to be careful when you release it. That doesn't break your arm or whatever. But that does allow you to slip your PV in there and leverage up on it and get a few more inches of lift and whatnot. Let's see here, the front rack here. I'm just trying to give y'all some wild measurements, even though some of these aren't really that important. The distance between the very back and the very front is about 26 inches, and the distance is about 30 and a half to this guy. So that's just some rough measurements for y'all. The key to me, this bracing right here, this adds weight to the tongue. It's not terrible or anything. I don't know, I use 1/2 inch and everything. I should not, I could lose some weight there. Just like up here, instead of using big wide piece of steel, I went with skinnier stuff. I don't like that double tree. That's a pull-in double tree. And there's, probably 5 pounds or so I can lose here. I could shave a bit off the tip of that tongue yet, which I'm not going to bother because I'm going to be I'm doing some different things. I really like that as well. I get along with that pretty good. I like a chain wheel. I haven't done this one. I like a chain wheel at the bottom here, a short length of chain wheel at the bottom right there. That's kind of handy. Let's see here, get on to the fun stuff. Okay, so you need to know. I'm just going to talk to y'all like I'm talking to someone that was building arcs, because that's who's contacting me, and that's why I'm doing this video. Because there seems to be some confusion sometimes with some people about some things with the arch. All right, you need to know so some people have a lot of different opinions or whatever. I don't give a rip about whatever. I'm probably going to be swapping to a D-ring harness. That's why I haven't cut this tongue down. I might be selling this for all I know. I got another lighter arch. So if we're in these hills, backing up, if you're on a steep hill, you can just walk down the hill pulling 500 pounds, but it's very difficult to pull 50 pounds uphill, if you're on a really steep hill. Same thing. The energy it takes to back one of these carts up is a big deal. The D-ring harness is better for that. It's better for some other things. You set your cart up differently for a D-ring harness versus a Western style harness. A Western style harness, you want to shave weight off that tongue as much as possible. I have built arches for other people and stuff, and they wanted it built out of 3/8 steel and blah. I mean, just adds weight. Your horses don't need that thick of steel. Let me bring this up. This one little thing. So I put extra welding. This right here is where I double weld and triple weld and groove weld it. The connection right here is going to be a weak point, and so on the bottom side I added steel and more surface area and stuff so it will hold up. That's probably the most important one of the most important welds. All this through here, there is tremendous twisting and banging and everything. You need to weld your stuff up really well. That's 1/2 inch steel. I like things being nice and tight. I like the gap here being as tight as you can get it, and I like the kickers and everything being as tight to the tire as you can get, and a very tight space right here. I do like that. All right, just want to mention that real quick. So you set your cart up totally differently for a D-ring versus a Western. The Western is all about trying to get that tongue light and really watching your you do not want it bearing down their necks when they pull. You do not want, when you sit down in your cart or whatever, you do not want adding weight to the front or anything. You want everything tight and balanced as possible and keep that tongue weight as light as you can. I don't have any issues with the Western style harness. I also cut a stick with a V. When I rest my horses, I put that underneath the tongue. I take care of my horses' necks, but I've had zero issues, zero muscle displacement on their necks or anything like that, like some people have suffered from. I may be going to the D-ring harness for a couple of reasons, but we'll get into that. So, on the D-ring harness, it's totally backwards. You want heavy tongue weight. You want some tongue weight up there. Not too much per se, but you want tongue weight. You would, if anything, this would be above your pulling height right here. And maybe a half inch or so. You want it actually presses down hair when they pull. Plus, if it was D-ring harness, I would move the seat further forward. I may just, I guess it's different ideas, but you want weight on the tongue. That D-ring harness, everybody has their own opinion, whatever. I think there's some misunderstandings. You get a lot of side-to-side slappage and a lot. If you hook this car up with a D-ring harness, you will get a lot of left and right really easy. And any bump you hit or anything, it would kick over left and right a lot. What does away with that is the tongue weight. When there's heavy tongue weight on that centers that car up and does away with a tremendous amount of balance. It actually makes it more comfortable for the horses and stuff, from what I've seen. So this cart is not set up for a D-ring harness. I would add tongue weight to it, and I would change a few things on it, make it a little more roomy, and do some things differently for a D-ring harness. And you'll see, if that tongue were to come up all a D-ring, it'd be bad. So you set everything up differently. I do think the D-ring harness is the best harness for a log arch. I may be going to it for it's just a pain. It's a hassle. It's a lot more junk going with those harnesses. And I ground scale a lot, and they're paying for that. There's plenty of downsides to them. The thing that why I might be going to one is when you're on a hillside, a steep hillside, you lose your center of balance. It's all throwing on the horse's neck and backing. They have to back really hard. D-ring harness is better for backing. And also, when all this weight gets thrown on their necks, I mean, a lot of times this is not really working out that great because the logs are shoving the horses and the tongue wants to come up a little bit. So it's just the terrain. For medium hills or flat ground, I think this is a good design. I really like it. I play around with log arches a lot, and this is a pretty good all the way around one. Also, and another reason why I might be making a different one is I'm probably going to make one with the all this is lower down and the log can't pass up and go underneath, and it's easier to get on and off, and the weight's lower down, so it's a little less likely to flip. I'll probably play around with that. But this, for most people, I think we're logging, it's going to be a pretty much okay design for a lot of people. And it's okay design for here. It works well. That's where when we go 4 up, that's another spot to hook a chain if need be. Those hubs, I wouldn't copy those hubs. Those are old, from the old wagon. They got low speed bearings in them. High speed bearings would definitely be a big plus, or a newer assembly, so parts would be more common. I do hook this thing up behind the truck, and I take it down the road, and it pulls really nicely. So yeah, this is more set up. This right here was a fairly, I think that's like a, I don't know, schedule 40 or something pipe. That could be a little bit thinner, I think, as long as you weld everything up very well. Honestly, I think this could be 3/8 probably, and that could probably be 1/4 3/4 or something. And if you get this weld right here right, you don't need so much bracing. That's a little bit of a long bracing. This and I use a 1 ton because it's lighter. This is a lot lighter than the Pioneer Arch, the way this one's set up. The double tree, and even the single trees, you can shave off some weight there. And it doesn't sound like much, but you add to or shave off a few pounds here and there, and throughout the day in, day out. So like yesterday, Gus and Boom worked in the woods. Today they worked in the woods, and tomorrow they're working in the woods. So you take a few pounds off, 2, 3, 4 days in a row off their necks, and that's going to help them, a fair bit. That's probably more than what these guys are asking. I had a few people asking. That's probably more than what anybody wanted. I did set this in, and that's where you make room for your chainsaw to hold and your PV hook. And go from over there to over here. That's basically 42.5, and then it narrows down the front to somewhere around 37 inches roughly. And I think I already gave you all that long measurements. Okay, so I think that's everything. People get really easily offended over their log arches, and over what's best. So much of it's regional. So much of it's the size of your team. For Gus and Boom, this line of draft is really a little too high, especially that long tongue. So we got a shorter tongue. You do want to be careful though. Is don't get your horse's hocks caught with that. I leave my tongues a little long for that, so they can't. And that's one thing that's nice. Just remember something else. So one thing that's nice about this is, let's say you have one young team or whatever, one just stops and then one plows ahead like crazy, whatever. This can only pivot so far. So this horse will only come so far back before it's kind of like a safety deal. Stave chains, Jeff Fergie actually came up with that and put stave chains in there to keep the tongue going left and right, whatever. And dead-pan flat country like West Tennessee, it works okay as long as you're aware of it. Sometimes it's still unhook one side or whatever. You can start bad habits with that, and you can do some good stuff with that. Here in the hills, I won't ever use this. I'll probably cut those off. I think that's it, guys. It's time for me to go pretend to be Billy Badass with a chainsaw for a little while. Hope that helps somebody. Have a great one.